Ciao, sono Tania. Hi, I'm Tania Trojan. I'm the founder of 7 Week Italian and the creator of the 3D method, the holistic methodology that we use to create, design and deliver the programs in our 3D Italian campus. Cos'è il metodo 3D? What is the 3D method really? È un metodo olistico molto diverso dai metodi tradizionali. It's a holistic method and it's very different from the obsolete traditional teaching methods. I will try to squeeze these differences into just 5 points. 5 punti. 1. Trasformazione, non informazione. If you have ever learned a language, you know that traditionally what happens is that you get a bunch of information. You are taught a language as if it was literature or history. You get the facts of grammar and vocabulary, and you are asked to just remember them. But in the 3D method, we understand that learning a language cannot be about information. It's about transformation. It's a process, a delicate and profound process of acquiring a new linguistic and cultural identity. 2. Gli adulti imparano diversamente. Adults learn differently. The traditional teaching methods tend to throw grammar and vocabulary at you in the hope that something would stick. It's all about communicating, okay, this is the information, this is the grammar, these are the new words, go ahead and learn them. In the 3D method, we know that adults learn differently, that just telling them how the grammar works and what the new words they are supposed to learn rarely works, because for an adult, exposure alone cannot be enough. The adult brain rejects information that is irrelevant and that cannot be part of a pre-existing pattern, because our brains work in patterns. And if we are supposed to retain something that does not fit into a pre-existing pattern, we would just let it slide. And that's what happens. Every time you blame yourself for not remembering something, it's not your fault. You're not being taught right. In the 3D method, we understand that adults do not learn through exposure alone, that they need tools, that the adult brain needs relevance, context, and to retain, we need emotion and imagination. 3. Le 3 dimensioni dello studio. The 3 dimensions of the learning process. The traditional teaching methods recognize just one dimension, the dimension of the language, and that's the only thing that they focus on. But learning a language is not about the language, it's about the learner. And the dimension of the learner is being completely ignored in the traditional teaching methods. For us, it's the focal point. We create the entire process around the learner. We provide the learner not just with the information about the language, but with all the tools and techniques that the learner needs to actually retain the language. And there's the 3rd dimension, the learning ecosystem, or in our case, the Italian ecosystem. And it's the dimension in which the language and the learner meet and interact. We help our students create their Italian ecosystem, and it becomes both the security net and a springboard for them to keep moving towards their Italian dream. 4. Le abilità linguistiche e pensare in italiano. Language skills and thinking in Italian. The traditional methods usually concentrate mostly on the written words, and it creates a great imbalance, especially when someone who is supposed to be fluent after years of learning, they find themselves able to read and sometimes write very nicely, but with incredible challenges when it comes to speaking or listening comprehension. In the 3D method, we believe that language skills, reading, writing, speaking, and listening should be developed simultaneously from the very first steps, because this is the only way, by developing our language skills holistically, that we can reach the holy grail of every language learner, thinking in Italian. And that's the fifth language skill that the traditional methods ignore completely. And yet, this is what every language learner who is serious about their results or about their progress, that's what we are dreaming of, to be able to think in the language we're learning. Thinking in Italian is a language skill, exactly like all the others. It can be developed, it can be nurtured, and it can be fast-tracked, but you need to work on it. And the first and most important element on the way to thinking is developing all the other skills simultaneously. 5. Comunità. We know how incredibly powerful communities are. When learning with traditional methods, very often students find themselves frustrated, alone, and thinking something might be wrong with them because of the challenges that they're facing. In our world, you are always part of a community that supports you, a community that keeps you accountable, and a community that creates a protected space for you to be yourself in. And of course, it's always wonderful to connect with other passionate learners of Italian that are on the same path as you. Now, these 5 points were just a way to illustrate how the 3D method is different from what you might have been exposed to in the past. But there is so much more to it. The 3D method is about creating solid structures and always building on what the student already knows. The 3D method is about crafting and nurturing your mindset and transforming your lizard brain into a lion brain. It's about bringing creativity, emotion, and imagination into the learning process so you can retain everything that you learn. The 3D method is about leveraging pronunciation to not only improve your listening skills, your speaking fluency, but also to craft your identity as an Italian speaker. Because that's probably the most important thing about the 3D method. For us, learning Italian is crafting your Italian identity, the Italian you. Since the school was created in 2020, we helped thousands of English speakers reach their Italian goals and get closer to their Italian dream. There are dozens of video testimonials under Student Love in the website menu, and there are hundreds of 5-star reviews for every step of our fluency roadmap inside the 3D Italian campus. If the approach of the 3D method resonates with you and you would like our help and support on your way to fluency and your Italian identity, you're welcome to join us inside the 3D Italian campus. If you are a complete or an advanced beginner, your first step with us is Italian Incubator. If you are an elementary or intermediate or even advanced student, take our placement test and let's find out what's your best next step. Hope to see you inside. Grazie e a presto!